Hello, good people. Gary Gentry with Quality Residential Inspections from right here in Raleigh, North Carolina, bringing you our inaugural, that's right, the very first episode of InspectBits, where we briefly present and highlight conditions and issues that we routinely and sometimes not so routinely discover during the performance of home inspections. Today our topic is vinyl siding, and specifically a phenomenon that isn't so often observed, but that when it is present is worthy of note in a home inspection report. We oftentimes see vinyl siding that is melted, it's deformed, it's been heat damaged from some source. And most often we find this on the rear exterior wall above a deck or a patio in the immediate vicinity of where a barbecue grill is or where one has been. And in some other instances that are more alarming, we find that the siding has been damaged by heat from a built-in pre-manufactured fireplace that perhaps hasn't been properly installed, or where the structure around the fireplace hasn't been properly insulated. Now, in these situations, the corrective actions are relatively straightforward. In the former, a barbecue grill just plainly shouldn't be operated within any close proximity of an exterior wall, and this is pretty much a no-brainer. In the latter instance, appropriate repairs or corrective action should be implemented by a competent professional, because if there's enough heat being generated from within the house that's sufficient to affect the exterior wall cladding, well, that's likely a safety issue and potentially a fire waiting to happen. But every now and again, we find this phenomenon on the front of a house or on the end of a house where there obviously hasn't been a gas grill present. So what causes this phenomenon, and what does it mean to a home buyer? Typically, and it's an explanation that only seems really plausible after some extensive thought and logical deduction, it's the result of reflected energy. And we know that energy is heat. And the source of the energy is usually the sun, and the reflection is from nearby windows that are likely double or triple paned, or that are otherwise energy efficient windows, and that may very well be low E or low emissivity coated. The sunshine reflects off of the windows and onto the vinyl siding. Now, vinyl siding will begin to deform at approximately 170 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's well within the potential range of temperatures created by reflected and directed light. Think of a fire being started using a magnifying glass. You've probably seen that, where a small bit of combustible material is caused to start on fire by focusing the sun's energy onto the material through a magnifying glass, or maybe through Uncle Jesper's Coke bottle eyeglasses. Now, the trick is to find where the light is being reflected from, and when conditions are just right, because it likely doesn't happen all day, and it doesn't necessarily have to be coming from one of the windows at the house where the siding is damaged. That's right, the additional energy causing the damage could well be courtesy of a neighbor and of windows at their house next door, or even across the street, and they probably don't have the first clue that it's happening. In most cases, though, the cure is relatively simple. Screens could be installed on the troublesome windows. That might be a solution, although getting your neighbors to pay for those might be a challenge. And alternatively, strategically placed trees or shrubs that block the reflected light. That might be a simple solution. Anything that interferes with the reflected light will likely be satisfactory. So the question is this deformed siding a defect? Well, that depends. If the siding deformation is severe enough that the siding is no longer providing weather protection for the home, then it's not functioning as intended, and the damaged sections are likely in need of being replaced. On the other hand, if the deformation is not so severe and the siding is still functioning as intended, then it might well be considered a cosmetics issue, something that, although it isn't very pretty, it really isn't affecting the function of the siding or of the home. As always, though, consult with your North Carolina realtor or legal counsel to determine what conditions are negotiable under your real estate offer to purchase contract. For general information about vinyl siding, visit the Vinyl Siding Institute at www.vinylsiding.org. And I want to thank you for your attention today. Do leave us a comment if you thought this information was helpful, or if you just want to say howdy. And please do visit us on our website at www.qriquality.com. This is Gary Gentry signing off with so long for now, and make it a great week.